Hey everyone, it's Mace1370. Today we are going to do an ML Lilias RTA Showcase. Before we get into it though, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, please see the video description below for a link to my Discord. If I sound a little bit differently, it's because I am recording this video on my laptop. I was able to get ML Lilias. She is incredibly overpowered. I did have to pity. It's kind of a big sad, but in terms of powerful ML5s, I think she is one of the more powerful ones we've had recently, so if you're going to pity, I guess it might as well be her. You can go over her kit quickly. She has two non-attack skills on her S2 and S3. The S3 skill gives vigor to your entire team, which cannot be dispelled, and gives them 30% attack and defense. Then she reduces the buffs on the enemy team by 1 turn, and then puts decreased attack for 2 turns on everyone. This then gives her an extra turn. And her skill 2, which is another non-attack ability, will push back their CR and then redirect provoke for 1 turn and then give her a barrier. And if you soul burn it, it's a 2-turn redirected provoke. Her skill 3 is essentially the same thing as the Lilias skill 3, it just, pulls in a random dual attack from an ally. So her kit is incredibly powerful because she doesn't care if the enemy team has immunity. She also has incredibly high base speed, so it's relatively easy to build her fast. And the fact that she can take those 2 turns means she can get rid of immunity, put attack down on the entire enemy team, and then lock down a unit with redirected provoke. If you have souls, she can do it for 2 turns, which means that she's able to lock down units like ML Calric with a soul burn. So in terms of how to build her, I think you basically want to prioritize speed and then tankiness and then effectiveness. So I have her at 304 speed, which is pretty fast. I think at the high legend level, most people are building her 290 plus, I'd say, is what I've run into for the most part in the few games that I've played. And then the rest of the stats you just need to invest in bulkiness and effectiveness. I would like to get her more effectiveness, simply because I think some units are running 100 to 150 ER, so it would be nice to get a bit more effectiveness to be able to deal with that. I doubt you're going to need more than 150 effectiveness, so I might drop her speed a bit to get more effectiveness. That said, I really like having her as a speed contest as well, so it's hard to get everything, right? I think one potential solution for that is going to be her artifact. So I'm trying Border Coin on her right now. Because she has 2 non-attack skills on her skill 2 and 3, and you can use them back to back, you essentially get double stacks of this right away. So that's a lot of extra speed coming out of the gate. She doesn't really use the attack that much though, since you're not really building her to do damage. So I'm not entirely sure if this is the best option for her. I think there are a few other pretty strong options as well. I think you could consider Circus Fantasia, just to give her more effectiveness. Obviously this needs to be leveled up more, but you get a good amount of effectiveness out of the gate. And in addition to that, because her opening skills are both non-attack, it's not going to decrease the effectiveness at all for her first cycle. So you get to do both of those at the max effectiveness for this artifact, and it will go down over the course of the fight, but you'll also get more effectiveness with Frenzy, so it should even out. So I think that's a strong option. Another artifact you could consider running on her, which I think would be another very good choice, would be Champion's Trophy, right here. This gives her just a flat amount of effectiveness as well. It's going to give less than Circus Fantasia, but it also adds a stun to her skill 1, which could be really nasty. So I think that all 3 of those are really good options. Honestly, Warriors have a bunch of good artifacts that could work on her. Anti-Magic Mask, I guess, seems a little underwhelming because you don't really care if she gets increased attack or crit damage, so there's a bunch of potential misses there. Obviously, Draco Plate for increased survivability could be nice. Durandal could be nice, just if she gets attacked it helps her cycle more. She would be a pretty high priority kill target, so I think Durandal would definitely work on her. I think you have a lot of options. The only other thing I think to mention here is immunity, which I think is nice to have. If you get outsped by a unit like Acid, if they're really fast, the immunity is going to prevent her from getting pushed back, and he's certainly not killing her with her tank stats. So let's take a look at a couple games with ML Lilias. Okay, so I've been pre-banning Bellion. I don't know if that's still a good pre-ban for me. The meta's totally shifted around now that ML Lilias has come out, along with the balance patch. I have seen a lot of people still pre-ban Bellion. I've seen people pre-ban ML Lilias. Some people are banning Ran or Caesarea. AOL is still a popular pre-ban, so there's a lot of options right now. One of the reasons I like a fast build on ML Lilias is I think she's very much a first pick worthy unit, and if you first pick a fast build of her, you already have a speed contest on the board in the event that the opponent tries to cleave you. So you can see here that my ML Lilias is going up against a Elfeld and a Ran, so these are probably two very speedy units, and I think having her on a fast build puts me in an advantageous situation because it's going to let me speed contest more effectively. Truthfully, I'm not entirely sure what the opponent's doing with the Elfeld. She's not a bad unit, I think she's actually pretty decent.
I never fight a losing battle.
I assume with the Ram that I'm going to get Caesarea cleaved or something, so I want to take APOC to have a a threat against that, and then I take ML Cowrick because in the event that they don't Caesarea cleave me, he could be nice to wipe away Elfeld's debuffs and stuff like that. So the opponent takes Arbiter Vildred and then Green Vildred, which is very interesting. So they've taken 2 speedy units and a speed imprint already. I think I want to take Blood Moon Haste here. I think he's really good in this slot because he can provide a bit of mitigation against the RB with his Adamant Shield passive. He also provides, obviously the passive trigger when RB dies, and a bunch of healing. And taking him means I probably don't have to take a mitigation hero as well. So in this last spot, I could take Assassin Sid to try to speed contest again. They already have 1 imprint, but my A Sid is 310, and I've kind of built him that way so that I can contest most players with a single imprint, right? So I can just ban whatever's last, and I can probably contest pretty well.
Let me warm up.
But this could have been greedy. I think AOL is perhaps another decent option that I could take in this slot. The opponent has a lot of AoE abilities, and so AOL could pose a pretty big problem for the opponent. And break the momentum pretty well. So he takes Green Sid. I ban out the Green Vildred because that's a speed imprint and a lot of damage. That's AoE. So I think now it's basically just going to be, does my Sid outspeed, and can my Lilias keep the damage from the enemy team down enough for me to stabilize?
Let's begin.
Okay, so we get the first turn with Sid, which is probably a coin flip given the fact that the opponent has a speed imprint.
Let's not let this drag on. End it now.
We can take out the Ran, and now our Lilias goes. She's going to be able to skill 3 to put attack break on the entire enemy team.
For the glory of Harlan. Obey if you
So
wish to
this
live.
right here pretty much means we win, since the opponent's team is very squishy, they all have attack break, and I have Vigor on my team, which is 30% defense. It's pretty insane when you think about it. Units like A Ravi that have like 24k HP and decent defense, giving them 30% increased defense is quite a lot.
Like the wind.
The enemy Sid does Gab, and I think this actually would have been a ton of damage if he wasn't defense broken, or sorry, attack broken. RB skill 3s, but it hits like a noodle because of attack break. And even though Crimson Seed does not proc, we have ML Cowrick to cleanse away the debuff. So now our A Ravi can go. She can skill 3 the RB, and I think our Assassin Sid should get the turn, because RB's all the way at the back.
I'm waiting for you.
Let me warm up.
And our Sid comes, and he does indeed get the turn, so now he can work on RB. Not quite enough damage, but that's okay.
Here.
Dual attack from the opponent is unfortunate, but I think we have too much tank on our side now that we have Vigor for the opponent really to do much. Sid's coming up, so I'm going to try to dispel him, but it doesn't work.
This is going to
The shields are still quite a lot though.
I'll make you taste despair.
And now RB's taking a turn, but the opponent concedes.
I cannot stop you.
Alrighty, this next matchup is definitely more of a standard draft. The opponent has pre-banned LQC and first picked A Ravi, which I guess is a interesting strategy. basically pre-banning one of the common answers to Aravi and then just taking it. So I take Conqueror Lilias here, and because LQC is pre-banned, I think I'm going to take, Archdemon Shadow. LQC is also an answer to Archdemon Shadow, and I think the new buffed Archdemon is actually pretty good against Aravi. You're able to seal her, and that takes away, her annoying passive of, getting CR boosted and stuff whenever she's hit, which is really nice.
Not my face.
You also have the potential to defense break her, which allows you to one-shot her with other units, once Archdemon gets to max stacks. So this is an interesting response. The opponent takes Rowana and Green Violet, I presume against the, secondary attacks from Archdemon, hoping to get counters and stuff. I don't think that Green Violet counters on the secondary attacks, though. His evasion is baked into his skill 3, though, so sealing him doesn't really do anything. This is one of my complaints with the way Smilegate is designing units right now. They put passive abilities inside of active abilities, which I think is completely stupid, but it is what it is. So, because they took those units, I take Carmen and Spectre Tenebria. Spectre Tenebria is very good against Green Violet and Apocalypse Ravi, since he can't reach her. Or they can't reach her. And then Carmen for mitigation, obviously. So the last picks from the opponent are Seaside Bologna and DJ Bassar, which is interesting. Seaside Bologna could be a problem because we have Lilias and we have Archdemon, both of which do kind of additional attacks, and then Archdemon does like AoE, right? So that's a lot of extra focus for Seaside Bologna, so we need to ban her out. I don't think I really care about DJB, to be perfectly honest. He'll cleanse once and then probably do nothing for the rest of the match. We're kind of going for a long game here, and I don't think DJB is really suited for a long game. I don't think DGB is suited for a whole lot right now, unfortunately. I take Landy last. Honestly, I kind of thought Landy would be a must ban because my opponent has a lot of buffs on his side, but I think Landy or Spectre would have been pretty problematic for the opponent here. So we can go ahead and rip our Lilias skill 3. And we actually land the attack break on Verona, which is interesting. Sometimes she's built with more ER. Other times people just build her super tanky, so this is probably a super tanky Rowana. I'm going to hold my skill 2 here since it would just get cleansed off by DJB anyways. I still wanted to skill 3 for sure to put Vigor out, but we can save the reverse provoke for later. Hopefully our Archdemon can strip away some of the immunities. I have her built on counter set with immunity and then also with the new Fairy Tale Tenebria artifact to boost her damage.
May the holy light save us all. Why not surrender?
Alright, so the opponent has a bunch of buffs now, so we get to use an empowered Landy S3. We don't have attack buff, but we do have Vigor, and Vigor gives 30% more attack, so almost as good with the added bonus of all that defense. I think this will really showcase how absurd Vigor is in a Bruiser versus Bruiser matchup. Oftentimes these things are going to come down to who can, fit like the most stats on their team. Like Gear can make a big difference in these fights over the long course of a game, and Vigor provides so many free stats. Like 30% defense is a lot, 30% attack is a lot, and you get both of those, and they can't strip it.
Feel my sword.
I'm debating about using skill 2 here on Violet. I figured might as well. This will push him further back the CR bar and will prevent him from using skill 3.
I'll make you taste despair.
And so I think right now the priority is we'll just kill DJB because he's a squishy target that should be easy to take down. He's also providing healing for the team.
Step back.
And we just need to stack up things on Marrow so that we can potentially defense break Apocalypse Ravi and then kill her. So we get to skill 3 here.
With your blood and anguish.
Unfortunately, I think Crimson Seed gets rid of the defense break, which is unfortunate. I guess, and that, that's good to know just for the future. If Crimson Seed hasn't procced, I guess it gets rid of defense break first, but the burn stays. So now we're in a situation where I think we have to do our best to control the Aravi, and Mero's pretty good for this since she's going to be putting out enough defense breaks, or enough debuffs I should say, to overwhelm Crimson Seed, which means that units like Lilias and Carmen should be able to keep Ravi provoke locked and prevent her from skill 3ing.
I know I'm beautiful. I'll have you kneel under this sword. Now try me. Don't chicken out.
Come, I'll take your life. The time.
I don't want to go into Violet here to potentially proc a counter, and I don't want to go into Ravi to push her up the CR bar, so we just attack Mero. I soulburn, or I mean, Rowana, sorry. I soulburn Landy here because I want to make sure we go back into stealth. One of the ways we lose this fight is if Landy pops out of stealth and then, you know, gets destroyed by Violet or Apoc. So you see we get the stealth there, and that soulburn put us into stealth because had I not soulburn, she would have been sitting out of stealth for a little while. I go with the seal on Apoc, which Crimson Seed cleanses away, but that's okay because now Crimson Seed is on cooldown, so we can use the reverse provoke from Lilias to control the Ravi. We get another skill 3 here from Landy. So I think this showcases ML Lilias really well. You know, she's able to provide attack for your team, defense for your team, she provides control, you know, she pulls in dual attacks, which gives you more focus, more fighting spirit, etc. Just incredibly strong hero. Alright, so that's that match.
I desire your flesh.
Okay, so just wanted to do a short video showing a couple matches with Conqueror Lilias. I think she's fun to play with. She's, I think, an overpowered hero, but she's really cool to use. I also figured I'd quickly pop in and show the stats for the aim arrow. So here she is. I built her really tanky. I think 180 speed is fine. I wouldn't go below this though. I think her cycling still matters a bit. So you don't want to build her like base speed or 150 or anything like that. I think 180 is good. 200 would be really nice. I'd probably be willing to sacrifice a bit of attack for a little bit more speed. I just don't farm Banshee a ton, so the stat, you know, distribution is not going to be 100%, you know, where I'm trying to get it. So here's the gear for her. I think she's really good. If I can get more matches with her, I'll probably do a separate showcase. Other than that, Merry Christmas, and thanks for watching. Later.